Dricus du Plessis is now the middleweight champion of the world. He beat Shan Strickland at UFC 297 by split decision after a very close fight. However, after UFC 297, there are two big questions that remain. What is next for the middleweight division, and who should get the next title shot? At the current moment in time, Dana White himself said that Shan Strickland is most likely not going to get the rematch against Dricus du Plessis.
So with that in mind, do you want to give him an immediate rematch because it was such a close fight, or what do you want to do with Sean next?
I don't know. I mean, eventually these two are going to end up fighting again, I'm sure. But we're not thinking about an immediate rematch right now.
However, I think that is definitely the wrong choice to make, and I'll talk about it later on in this video near the end. Now, I have been seeing 4 main and major ideas floating around the UFC community on who should be next for a title shot and what should be next for the middleweight division. Starting at number 1, the most popular suggestion I have been seeing is Khamzat Chimaev versus Dricus du Plessis. Although I am a huge fan of Khamzat Chimaev, I do not personally think he has done enough to earn himself a title shot in the middleweight division. Khamzat hasn't even fought a ranked contender in the middleweight division. He only has wins over Kamaru Usman, who is a welterweight who stepped up a weight class on short notice. He has a win over Kevin Holland, who is a welterweight who again stepped up on short notice and went up a weight class. He has a win over Gilbert Burns recently, but that fight took place at welterweight. And Hamza Shamayev really struggled with both Gilbert Burns and Kamaru Usman. In my opinion, Hamza Shamayev needs to fight some ranked opponents in the middleweight division before people even discuss him getting a title shot. At the current moment in time, everybody ranked above Hamza Shamayev has fights lined up. Rank 8, Roman Doldiz is fighting rank 11, Nasruddin Imavov. Rank 7, Brendan Allen is fighting rank 5, Marvin Vettori. Rank 6, Paulo Costa is fighting rank 3, Robert Whittaker. Dricus du Plessis is now champion and just fought. Israel Adesanya said he was taking time off not too long ago. However, there are these pictures floating around. Shan Strickland, I assume, will be number 1 or 2 contender when the stats get updated. However, I don't think Khamzat has done enough to get a shot at a top 3 person in the middleweight division just yet. But just imagine the press conference between Hamza Shamayev and Shan Strickland. The only person who does not have a fight lined up in the middleweight division who's near the top is Jared Cannonier. And to be honest, if the UFC wants to make that fight, I think that's the perfect fight to make at this current moment in time. If Hamza Shamayev can get past Jared Cannonier, then he definitely deserves to be considered for a title shot. But if he does fight Jared Cannonier, he is jumping over the entire division, and he has barely competed in the middleweight division. And that's especially not fair to the other middleweights who win their fights that are already scheduled. I do think you could definitely make a case for Khamzat Chimaev getting a title shot at welterweight, but not middleweight. But what are your thoughts? Moving on to the second suggestion I've been seeing a lot lately is Dricus du Plessis versus Alex Pereira at UFC 300. I would love to see Dricus du Plessis and Alex Pereira duke it out. Whether Alex Pereira comes down to middleweight or Dricus goes up a weight class, I think that fight would be absolutely fire, 100 over 100. To be honest, I wouldn't be opposed to this matchup at the current moment in time. Both the light heavyweight division and the middleweight division are really tied up right now. We already talked about how the middleweight division was tied up just a few moments ago when we were talking about Khamzat. However, the light heavyweight division is also a little tied up. The number 1 ranked Jamal Hill is still out injured, I believe. Rank 2 Yuri Prochazka and Alexander Rakic, ranked 5, already have a fight lined up. The only person you could make a case for getting a title shot is Magomed Ankalaev, because he is ranked number 3 and he just beat Johnny Walker. But I don't think the UFC is going to make that fight because it doesn't move the needle, but I could be wrong. If anybody deserves a title shot in the division, it's Magomed for sure. Number 4, Jan Blachowicz, he just lost to Alex Pereira, so that fight really doesn't make sense. Nikita Krylov is ranked number 6, and he needs at least 1 more ranked win before he gets a title shot in my opinion. Although I love to see super fights where fighters transcend weight classes and try to challenge for different titles. I don't want to see them happen all the time because it just holds the division up for another couple of months while the fighters heal and rest from those fights. And it's genuinely not fair to the active fighters in their divisions. However, in this particular case, with the number 1 contenders either being injured or taking some time off, and everybody else in the division being tied up, I would be perfectly fine if Dricus went up a weight class and fought Alex Pereira, or I'd be perfectly fine if Alex came down and fought Dricus at middleweight. Number 3 is Israel Adesanya. If Shan Strickland is not getting the rematch with Dricus, in my opinion, the only person who should be considered for a title shot is Izzy. Izzy has said that he is taking some time off not too long ago, back in December. How long that would be, he did not specify, but once again, there are these photos flowing around. In his recent YouTube video where he reacted to the winner of Dricus du Plessis and Shan Strickland, he really didn't say if he was coming back soon. He just kind of said that he was coming for Dricus at some point.
Now he is the 4th African champion in the UFC history. So congrats to you, my African brother, Dricus du Plessis. I'm actually not like legit, I'm happy for him. I actually like his story and whatnot. What? He still did what he did, and I'm still gonna test that ass. Hey, yo! Hey, yo!
Adesanya was a very active champion. He was also a very dominant champion. If anybody deserves a title shot, it's him. I see some people talking about Khamzat Chimaev versus Izzy, and the winner of that fight gets a title shot. But to be honest, Khamzat needs some ranked wins over some middleweight opponents before he gets a crack at a contender, or a title shot for that matter. Number 5, Shan Strickland. This is the only fight that should be happening next, involving the middleweight title in my opinion. I am a big fan of both Dricus and Shan Strickland. The fight between Dricus and Strickland was an absolute barn burner from beginning to end. There wasn't a single dull moment during this fight. Both men came for war and they put on a war. And at the end of the fight, I had Dricus winning. However, the fight was extremely close. I honestly thought it was going to be a coin toss. I thought it was going to be a draw. In my opinion, there wasn't a super clear decisive winner. I did give it to Dricus, like I said. And even after rewatching the fight, I thought it was still extremely close. However, even after rewatching it, I still had Dricus winning. But it was definitely close enough for a rematch in my honest opinion. Maybe I'm the only one who feels this way, or at least that's what it feels like. I see a lot of people saying Shan Strickland was robbed, but I don't see a whole lot of people calling for a rematch. I see a few people calling for rematches, but I see most people talking about Khamzat versus Dricus. People are talking about Izzy versus Dricus, but there's not a whole lot of people talking about Shan Strickland versus Dricus again, and I think that's just very, very strange. Whatever happens next in the middleweight division, I will be watching with great joy and anticipation. This is the most exciting division in the UFC at the current moment in time, or at least I think it is. But what do you guys think? What should be next for the middleweight division? Who should get the next title shot? Let me know in the comment section down below. Anyways, peace out. I love you all.